Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. Many of you know I work in the shop area here, right where that Astro is sitting, and in the winter I like to have a little heat. So I bought one of these coach heaters, diesel air heater for car. This is 8 kilowatts, about 27,000 BTUs, and it turns out that's enough to warm up the garage and make it useful to work up here. So I poked a little hole in the door, right, these are my solar doors, and I was running the exhaust out there, and it was good enough for last year, but I want to improve on it for this year. So to improve the heating situation in the garage here, I'd like to set that up a little bit more permanently. And I'd like to really have it here in between the two garage doors. Now, the problem is the space from the wall out to here is quite a bit less than the space from there to there, allowing for intake and so forth. So, what does that mean? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bump out right here. And I just want to show you guys what I'm up to. Right, this whole section of the wall, I'm just going to bump it out about 18 inches, give or take a foot and a half. And it's going to be a little slope roof come down. Out it will come. A lot of times they do this like with little greenhouse window type things. So I think what it's going to do for me, not only does it put the heating system in a better place, gets that out of the way, but it'll help fix up, you know, my solar situation, my car radio, other radio. The compressor is going to stay right up there. So I think it'll just clean up this entire mess by getting an extra few square feet. So that's what I'm up to. Okay, this is a partway through destruction video, right? Siding off, what you do is I came down here with a screwdriver, popped the edge, peeled it back, then popped the nails and dropped them down one at a time. So that's how that happened. Cutting this, what I did was first I drilled a hole and put a couple of screws into, because there's a 2x4 on the inside that runs along here. Then I drew a line, everything's level, and from there one could easily use, I prefer the battery powered tools for this because it's very light, it takes one hand. So that's how we did that. I had to cut the upper beam, right, and you guys, I used, once again, the battery-powered Ryobi here. I'm not talking about the battery-powered stuff. Ryobi in particular, to say buy Ryobi, I like Ryobi. But you guys could use Milwaukee, DeWalt, whatever you want. It's just the battery-powered tools makes this whole affair a lot easier. So this is what the inside of the wall looks like. What a mess. Obviously I have to get that junk out of here. I just want to get it, I wanted to get it to the point where if I got to seal it up tonight, I can. Without too much trouble, right? Try to keep the bats out. Okay, tubers, the destruction is over and the construction begins. So I recycled this from the piece I cut out of here, right? Plywood's expensive. You want to use as much of it as possible. What I did was I fitted in here, and you guys could see the 2x4 for the wall. I have it bolted into that, which will give me, right, how are you going to pull this down, right? Not that there's going to be all that much weight on it, but still, how are you going to pull it down when it's bolted up to here? I'm also for the bottom. You can see this comes in, and I'm going to set it up so that once again it bolts into this, right? So that'll provide quite a bit of strength for the whole thing. The bottom of this thing is just going to be 2x4. I'm going to box it all in kind of standard construction technique, and that's how it's going to work. By extending the wings, so to speak, so they actually bolt into the wall, right? And they rest on this plate, right? This rests on the plate, as does this. Plus being bolted further in, this isn't going to sag down, right? That's the last thing one wants, because once it sags down, typically you end up with water getting in here, and then rot and insects and all that other trouble. So I'm just going to continue as I'm going. When you're doing this kind of work, simple little things for destruction, I like using the battery powered tools. For construction, I got to tell you, chop saw, it's a wonderful thing. With the chop saw you could you know, get everything nice and square and proper, and it takes seconds to cut a 2x4 rather than getting the circular saw, setting the 2x4 up on the table, marking it, drawing a straight line. As you're cutting it, you got to make sure you don't wander, right? The chop saw just makes it so much quicker. This is a rigid. It was given to me by a friend because it had an OSHA problem. I fixed that, and this is not an OSHA job site, obviously, but it's interesting when you get stuff like that. It's always fun to think back where it came from. So the construction continues. Okay, here we are. You can kind of see it's coming together. I hung that little thing out so I could put this piece of plywood on the front of it. It is solid, right? Doesn't move at all. I think this is going to be a great addition to the shop. Back up just a touch more so you guys can kind of see the whole thing. There you are. Here it is. It's about critter tight. It's really not weather tight yet. So if one kind of knows what they're doing and you're not recycling materials, which, believe it or not, takes more time, right? Pulling nails and so forth, you can put this little extension into your garage. Really doesn't burn much space outside, right? It's just a little tiny bump out. It's about 2 foot deep and a little more than 3 foot. So that gives you 6 square feet. Doesn't sound like a lot, but if you shelf it 2 or 3 times, right? Twice is 12, right? 3 times is 18. You're starting to add some square footage to your shop, and particularly what you're able to do is you're able to get annoying things out of the way, such as that heater. Once that heater is set into the wall, the car batteries are put away properly, right along that shelf, the radio, you know, it'll just be so much easier. You know, I'll come in, put a little fuel into it, turn it on, and now I'm not worried about tripping over it. It's not part of the door or anything else. It'll just add so much more to my shop. There are a million little tricks, shop tricks, to make your shop better. I mean, in my case, this is the south facing side, so these vinyl doors let a lot of sunlight in, let a lot of normal light in. Really nice for the winter. So one plus. Other pluses, if you get your stuff up on wheels, right, you vertically integrate it, you could get more stuff in. You get it up on wheels, right, one could just spin that around if you got to get stuff out of the back of it or whatever. You know, tool carts. Just ways of making the garage a little bit more usable. Once you put junk on the floor, no wheels in the way like this pile is, you're just making a mess. To get to this cart, I got to remove that pile. Where do I put that pile? Oh, and the heater, another problem, right? So there you go. Make things better. By the way, I will be putting this heater on this tray, this cooking tray. There's an important reason for that. You know, these China heaters, they're not made with the best materials. And as you could see, I don't know if the tank cracked, or if the hose popped off, or both, or neither, and there's yet even a thing that I didn't think of wrong with it, but somehow it leaked fuel. So I need to fix that, obviously. But I do recommend putting some kind of tray or something. One does not need wood soaked with diesel fuel or kerosene, depending on what you're burning, because it won't take too much to get that going, and then, you know, the whole garage is gone, eh? So, you know, do be aware that if you are putting fuel into stuff, that you want to be careful. You also want to be careful, right? Batteries, hydrogen gas when they're charging, ignition source like a heater, right? You really don't want to send yourself to Valhalla, especially if you leave this earth in a painful way, right? Or shit, maybe a stupid way. Everybody be talking about, boy, that was kind of dumb to do, eh? So try to do better than your lazy self allows. Anyway, I do want to thank you all for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. I hope this project helps people out there get themselves a little bit more organized. I think for me it'll be a really big plus. I'm going to take a picture of it in such a way that I don't trip and fall. There you go. You could also set it up such that this is some kind of vinyl or plastic or glass. Then you made yourself, right, a little greenhouse sticking off your garage, right? You could still kind of put a few plants in there and some of your other stuff. I didn't want to create an entrance to the garage, so I didn't want to put a window into it. I like the idea that I can close the doors, rope them, lock them, right? And this thing is, right, you know, unless you're going to go at it with an axe, you're not getting in here. But if you're going at the garage with an axe, you could go through the back wall or the front wall or the garage door, right? If you're willing to put that much effort, you're going to get in no matter what. So there you are. Anyway, once again, thank you for watching and commenting and subscribing. Please remember, feet down, heads up, get out and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.